Okay. Psh. Sorry, I already opened the drink earlier. I want to jump right into this review of the latest Ghostbusters movie. That is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Oh, sorry, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Afterlife was the previous one from 2021. God awful one that people really didn't like. Turns out Frozen Empire was about just the same. Not too great, but also not really that bad, I guess. I don't know if it's um, what they, I've already been kind of, depressed and disappointed with the last one. So I didn't really raise my hopes up this one, so I wasn't really disappointed. Turns out my formula works. The formula that was pretty much given to me by my mom, when she said, do not get your hopes up. Less so you won't be disappointed. The more you get your hopes up, the more you'll be disappointed. So if you want to avoid disappointment, just don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up to begin with. She was referring to my dad. I always expect him to come visit me and take me shopping and stuff, but he didn't. And so she said, if you just quit expecting it, you won't be disappointed. If you keep your hopes up, keep your hopes down, or just
Med school.
raise your expectations. What she said. Anyway, I pretty much include that in movies. So on to this review. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It stars and some of the original cast from the original Ghostbusters, including the original cast. Always, includes, you got Bill Murray as Peter Winkelman, who doesn't appear until later on in the film. Dan Aykroyd, who plays Ray Stantz. Annie Potts, who plays Janine Melanitz. Now I'm looking at the IMDb list here, so right here you got this little review thing going on.
Relations dream come true.
This film, we
I have a link to that in the description. But also, well, you got Oni Hudson as Winston Zeddemore. These are like originals. There was another guy who is pretty much, his last name is Spangler. He's like the grandfather. Well, Carly Spangler's dad, aka Phoebe, and Trevor Spangler's grandfather. He's the one that invented the plasma wife or whatever they use to suck the ghost into the thing on the backpack thing, which they take the pack and they put it in this big gigantic machine that pretty much traps the ghost. It keeps the ghost locked in there. Yeah, so about the cast. Paul Rudd plays Gary Guberson, who is kind of like the Phoebe and Trevor's adoptive father. They don't really want to call him dad, especially not Phoebe, at least not in the beginning. You got Carly Spangler, played by Carrie Coon. Finn Wolfhard plays Trevor Spangler. Finn was from other few movies, including his original debut was in Stranger Things, which that show I have yet to even explore, believe it or not. Then you got McKinney Grace, who was in Firestarter, some other things. Gifted here. She started off young. The Mermaid's Tale, I, Tonya, Paw Patrol. She was in Ghostbusters Afterlife. I don't know what else to even say. Anyway, so then you got this guy, Dr. Hubert Waltsey, played by Patton Oswalt, who was in Marvel's Agents of Shield, and of course you got Nadim Razmadi, played by Kamel Najiru. I can't pronounce his last name. Sorry. He was in the Eternals film, along with some other films. So he's a pretty funny guy. Then you got Celeste O'Connor, who plays Lucky. Wow, that's a simple name. I can't believe I actually pronounced that name. Logan Kim, who plays a young man, a boy named Podcast. That's his name. In the Ghostbusters Afterlife, that's his name. I was kind of taken aback. I was like, wow, that's what they do. It's either poor writing, poor lazy writing, or just clever smartassness. Just name a character podcast. What we're gonna name this guy? Played by this one played by a young man. Just get podcast. Podcast, really? Yeah. I mean, he's creating a podcast that he wants people to hear. Young people do it nowadays. Hell, I even do it. But I didn't really want to do it because I thought it was stupid. But I was like, what the heck? Turns out it didn't wasn't too bad. Started off small, then gradually increased. Anyway, yeah. So and Melody, played by Emily Allen Lind, and she's quite important because she's a ghost that is, well, I'll get on to that anyway. I'll get on to that later. Anyway, so the movie starts out very typical. They're already busting ghosts. They've got this dragon that kind of is going through the city, as you saw in the opening trailer. If you haven't seen it already, you should look it up. And that blue dragon right here, actually, this one. This very blue dragon. I don't know if I could zoom in, but that right there. It later on escapes, but so they're trying to catch it using the ray gun. So you got Phoebe. She ends up getting in the passenger seat, and that seat is the famous seat where the person, if they're in route chasing it with the Ghostbusters vehicle, that's their car, somebody will be in the passenger seat, and it kind of opens the door, slides out, and they're connected to they have a gun that's connected to the inside, and feeds the gun and shoots the way that traps the ghost. Phoebe ends up doing that. And Trevor is, well, he's 18. He makes a big deal about that because he wants to, let people know he's a man now. And besides that, Trevor, well, at 18, he wants to drive the Ghostbusters vehicle, naturally. So, he's constantly telling his mom, like, hey, I'm a man, address me as whatever, don't call me, don't act like I'm your boy, I'm not a little boy anymore. But of course, mom be momming. And Paul's character, Gary Gubberson, well, he's not quite their father. He's pretty much just a relationship with Collie Spangler at this point. But, he does build significance in the fact that he's more active in this film. The last movie, he wasn't really active. He was just kind of like he was just a face, really. But he was like a supporting character, more or less. He ends up getting possessed in that movie, him and Collie Spangler. And pretty much the stars of that movie were, well, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, and the guy who plays podcast, Logan Kim, along with Celestia O'Connor. All four of them were more significant than even Paul and Carrie Coon, Paul Wood and Carrie Coon. But it's kind of reversed in this movie to where Paul takes a front seat instead of a back seat, and Carrie Coon even takes a front seat because they're both Ghostbusters, with the kids, Trevor Spangler and Phoebe Spangler. One could say that Celestia O'Connor's character of Lucky in podcast played by Logan Kim, they take a back seat this time. They're significant, but it's really later that they're significant. Even Kamal, played by who plays Nadim, he's well, about as significant as Lucky, now that I think about it. But actually, what gets a good amount of screen time is Melody, played by Emily Lynn Hill. She's just basically a ghost that Phoebe befriends. There's this nice little scene that Phoebe is playing a chess by herself at the local park. She's upset because her being in the driver's seat and trying to trap in the sewage dragon ghost ends up getting on the bad side of the mayor, and the mayor's been trying to shut down the Ghostbusters for years, and now she's given him a reason to do that, and now he's gonna be on the city board about getting their firehouse shut down. And their firehouse is that place that pretty much was Ghostbusters headquarters, the GB headquarters, and that's where they have all their ghosts trapped. That's where they do business. Well, this family of four has moved into this very firehouse, and it's their home that's threatened now, so they don't want to lose it, and they want to quote unquote fight to keep this place. Paul really does. I mean, sorry, Gary really does want to bust Ghost. He expresses that. He's fascinated with the idea of being a Ghostbuster. You don't really see his normal job. He in the last movie, Afterlife, he was a teacher at the high school. He was pretty much Phoebe's teacher. And I don't know. It's like he, I guess the job is really not that important, But Phoebe's only 15 at this point. But even she wants to grow up, and so both Ho and Trevor, want to be. Well, they want to grow up, and Phoebe wants to do things that Trevor can do. She's mad at the fact that Trevor is allowed to go on the family business of busting ghosts, and Phoebe is pretty much taking off the assignment. And because Phoebe takes it very seriously, she's the genius of the family. She's the one that picks locks and knows how her grandfather's technology worked, understands all the science, terminology and stuff. She obviously dumbfounds her brother. Her brother doesn't understand shit of it, pretty much. Paul, I'm sorry, Gary. I keep saying Paul. Gary is just fascinated by all of it, and Collie is that kind of down to earth that keeps us grounded in reality. Yeah, I can't just abandon my family. I got to protect them and help them, and stick with the family name. But also, I got to be there to mom everybody. That's keep everybody in check, as moms naturally do. And so it's a well balanced movie. You can see the family dynamic, which makes it watchable. I say I like this movie more than I like Afterlife, just on that alone. The family dynamic of it. Because the last movie, these two, just Paul and Carrie's character, I'm sorry, Gary Guberson and Carly Spangler, they just take a back seat in Afterlife. But they take up a lot of space, and they take the front seat in Frozen Empire. So, this actress, I was just going through my mind. Who is this woman? Emily Allen Lynn. I've seen her face before. She was pretty much a blue ghost in the entire movie, and I'm like, why does she look familiar? When I look at these pictures, yeah, she was in Doctor Sleep. She was one of the characters I forgot. That's a movie I saw a long time ago. Amazing how young she looks. And I still couldn't. I still can't kind of ponder where I saw her. I've seen her in some other movies. Uh, anyway, she was pretty much a ghost that set herself on fire by accident. She burned down her house and murdered her whole family by accident. And according to her, she died before her face could be scarred by the fire. That's why she still looks good. As when Phoebe makes a kind comment on her face, tells her how beautiful she still looks. But the reason why she's burned alive, so her spirit has got these blue flames that are kind of the silhouette, her outline makes her look like a Super Saiyan at times. But yeah, she's got that nice little flame look. It's that typical, one of the main characters, which is a misunderstood teenage girl. Well, not really misunderstood, but struggling teenage girl befriends, kind of an outcasted or maybe not damaged, but affected spirit or content of what they commonly fight. They fight ghosts, right? They suck them into the dimension or whatever. And now she's befriended a ghost. And there's more details about the ghost, but the ghost later on has her own dubious purposes. The reason why she befriended Phoebe is because she's working for the bad guy, who is this big frozen spirit ghost guy. And he's given a name. He's given some weird history. This goes way back 1,000 years. That typical storyline. Basically frozen inside of a ball. That MacGuffin. I don't know if I can call it a MacGuffin because they're not trying to necessarily take it to keep to do something with it. They're trying to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. The MacGuffin is introduced early. It's kind of like just just protecting it, figuring out what it is and stuff. Once they figure out what it is, and it's Dr. Hubert Watsky, played by Patton Oswalt, that tells them the whole story of what it is and stuff, and just how powerful and much more important it is to keep it locked away from ghosts, because apparently the presence inside can still control ghosts, and he's getting ghosts to do his bidding to get a hold of this ball to unlock it. But he's not really unleashed until a good hour, maybe a little bit over that, actually a little bit over that, about an hour and a half, not even that, well, about an hour and, I don't know, 15 minutes into the movie, like, damn near the third act of the film, he's released, and that's only because he needs a human voice to say the chant. And that voice ends up being Phoebe, because her dad has, invented a way for a human to join the realm of the spirits for 2 minutes by separating his body from his spirit. So basically, he's kind of like a, if you think about Doctor Strange, you'd be knocked out of your body for 2 minutes, so that she could, and Phoebe uses that to join her friend Melody for 2 minutes, so they could, because she wants to be with her in a way. I don't know if it's some kind of pre-lesbian like thing, but it's basically just a friendship, that she really sees, Melody as a friend. So there's that sweet side of that. But Phoebe did that. I mean, Melody did that to Phoebe as a trick. She tricked Phoebe into doing that in order to get her to voice the chant, and she wouldn't do that by herself, of course. The demonic ghost controls ghost. So what he does is he takes control of Phoebe and makes her say the chant. And because Melody tells her, so he can't control humans, but he can control ghosts. So yeah, when Melody hold Phoebe, tell her those, no, I wish I could join you. Melody started to think of a way to get her to do that, so so that she could be controlled and say the chant and whatever. And what is it in for the ghost Melody? Well, Melody, remember that part I said Melody boned her family alive by accident? She wants to be united with her family. She wants to go to the afterlife, to the other side with her family. And the only way she could do that is through her boss, the demonic ghost. I forgot his name. I know it's probably in the credits of whoever does the voice, if I could find that real quick. But as I do that, and I'm just really kind of researching it at this point, as I try to remember all the details. Well, I can't quite find it, so whoever the ghost is. You do have Bill Murray join in later. He doesn't come in until much earlier in the film. It's really quite a. I'm gonna give this movie about a 6, I guess. It wasn't too great, but it wasn't really that bad. The Afterlife is kind of like a 4 for me, really a 3 for me. So this gets twice as many stars. Oh yeah. So James Acaster plays Lars Penfield. He's that node that pretty much is kind of like a smartass. He walks and detects ghosts or whatever and helps them troubleshoot their problems, because there's an issue with the whole trap door that they have at the firehouse. That's where the ghosts are trapped in. I don't know what it's called, but I just say fire door. And apparently both Ray Stantz and Winston Zeddemore have been working on a bigger headquarters, a bigger place to trap even more ghosts, because their old headquarters doesn't work. So the idea is to take all the ghosts that they have and transfer them over, which could take like 7 years, but to transfer them over to this new place, which is where Lucky, played by Celeste O'Connor, works. Along with a podcast who plays Logan Kim. So, yeah, these two teenagers do not have regular jobs. They just have they're employed by Ghostbusters, and I guess Winston does pay them, which would be natural if he paid them. I mean, come on, I don't know how old they are in the film, about 14, 15 years old. And the last time we saw Celeste O'Connor was in Madam Web. She played Maddie Franklin, one of the three Spider Women that were going to kill the main bad guy, whoever he was. Anyway, yeah. So, and when I see this trailer, I can't help but think I know who that is. I think that's uh, I, th- I think that's Holiday or something, whatever her name is. I can't imagine who's that girl with the shades. His face is down here somewhere. Anyway, so talk more about the movie. The monster eventually gets out. He starts to freeze everything. They got to put him back. Oh, and in the midst, there's this possessor spirit that pretty much is like this little red light that goes around possessing various inanimate objects. He possesses a uh, a lion at one point, like a stone lion at the library. Um, and yeah, he possesses all these different objects, and then he eventually gets a hold of. He possesses a pizza. If I'm sorry, I'm just remembering bits and pieces of the movie. I don't quite remember everything. There's also this green blob that occasionally that Trevor Spangler has been trying to trap, but he can't quite get it. He's trying to lure it out with food using, I think, Cheetos or something, some kind of food, and but he's later on. He's like, hey, I know that guy because he's been trying to really work on trapping him. Anyway, so yeah, the evil guy gets out, starts freezing everything, starts working on like pretty much releasing all the spirits, causing power outages and stuff, so that he can have an army of ghosts to take over the planet or whatever. Apparently, a long time ago, he was used by some king to help conquer over countries and establish his authority. But then that king became suspicious of the evil entity that he was using for his own purposes, and uh had his horns pulled off of his head, and but then that evil entity became angry and started to wreak all kind of havoc, and then some other fire people jumped in and cast their spell and broke it to pieces and put the spirit inside of that ball. And this is when the Nadim comes in. The Nadim is like a descendant of those fire people. He can control fire. He could, you know. They didn't really expand on that. I felt like they should have expanded on that a bit. They should have told us, okay, so how did they trap him using fire? I know they made some kind of magical chant, and they use like brass, which is the type of metal and whatever. But it's like, how exactly was it done? You know. Anyway, the dim is like he can like control fire, and he's seen later practicing with the candle flame, controlling the flame, trying to light the candle with the lighter, without touching it, using his hands, and eventually he uses up all the lighter fluid. That's what Trevor asked him. Did you use up all the lighter fluid? He's like, you told me to practice, and he's trying to, uh, help fight the demonic entity. Uh, and since Melody burned down her house and killed herself and her family by accident, she's got this match set, this match. It's not really a box. It's like a little clip of matches, and she's saving the last match for something. And Sophia makes a reference to the objects that sometimes are used as sentimental value to people when they pass on. They attach themselves to those objects, and they even inhabit those objects. And if you have the object, you could summon the entity that's connected to it, whatever. Melody has like this little matches that she keeps, and she doesn't light it until later at the last minute, in order for Nadim to control the flame to help fight the monster. It's a clever story between fire and ice, not to quote Game of Thrones or anything, but yeah. So the four original OGs. She's an OG, even though you don't have the guy that plays Spangler. The grandfather started. they don't really take a significant amount of time. They're kind of a very back seat just to bring in the nostalgia, to bring in the legacy, if you will. It's not really a legacy movie so much. I mean, they do have more. These two especially have more significance in this film because the last time these three in Afterlife were just at the last minute. At the very. I mean, he was at the beginning, of course, because he's like the businessman, but they were the last minute. Especially Bill Murray. And then Bill Murray's once again at the last minute because he's kind of like they just brought him in, for a paycheck or just for his face because he's practically the face of the Ghostbusters, the old ones anyway. And it's funny that his character still remembers where a bottle of alcohol is when he goes back to the fireplace, his original headquarters. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm just pretty much using this screenshot. I'm also doing this for a class, by the way, because I said I would review movies for that class. Oh, it's funny because this guy that plays the librarian is pretty much saying that I forgot his name already. Oh, Wade Stance is kicked out from the library. He's banned, so he's like, so the library administrator is like, you have to leave, but he tends to know him, and nothing's ever made about it, but he goes on to seek help from Dr. Hubert Watsky, played by Patton Oswalt. The Mayor Walter Peck is played by William Atherton, and I'm not sure if he was in the original Ghostbusters, any of them. I'm not a Ghostbusters fan. I'm brand new to it. This movie I just saw is with my A-list. It's not really like a big deal to me. I did enjoy it though. Admittedly, I kept my I didn't have any expectations for this movie. I didn't. I was like, whatever. There was a great deal of people actually when they went to see the AMC yesterday. I did a trailer check for it, so there was a great deal of people. You can see that this is pretty much what I saw. I didn't see it today, actually, and wow, I think. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely got a refund. That's good. Let me refresh that page. I saw it at AMC Kabuki 8 after I did my trailer check though for the same movie. I was like, you know what, fine, I'll see it. I'll just go ahead and get it out of the way. I want to go ahead and get it out of the way. I didn't really expect a lot. I was like, let me go ahead and get it out of the way so I can make this review later. Little did I know I got tired after it, but you can see that it's $12.69 if you do it at matinee before 4 o'clock, which is good. But I say even better if you're not sure about how this movie at all. Maybe I'll see it again just to get that collectible pin. I don't know if I care about the pin. I would say see it on a Tuesday. Discount Tuesdays, the tickets was like $7. Dolby Cinema, the tickets will probably be like 10. But you're saving yourself, instead of paying like $24-$25 for a Dolby Cinema ticket, I would just see it for like half the price, 12. Because if you're one of those people that you don't go to the movies often, you don't know when it's in for you, you don't know if it's really a good movie or not, but you kind of want to take a chance, go see this movie on a Discount Tuesday. The only discount matinees any day is up to like 25% off before 4 p.m. as you can see. Include a link to that in the description as well. Get my little notepad out here. Oopsie, I did not mean to show that. But as I mentioned here, yeah, Discount Tuesdays. There's that right there. And that's where if you're not sure if you like a movie or not, you're not sure if it's any good, you can just sit on a Tuesday. You won't feel so bad. You can have extra money for food. Like I bought some sliders. I actually got the combo. Like I mentioned, I wish they had a combo. I mentioned that earlier in one of my reviews. They actually got a bacon cheeseburger combo slider now. It comes with the curly fries, but you know at least a combo. Large drink and color fries. I like that. So I don't know what else to say about this movie. You can leave your comments down and tell me what you think if you saw it. Yeah, so I'm a little bit nervous at this point because I kind of want what to say. But thank you for watching. I'm glad I was able to keep it short, not really go too much into it, not just searching for words. Please, if you've seen this movie, if you didn't watch the movie, tell me why. Comment down below and like and subscribe for more.